Hey, it's Jack, and this video is called You Are Enough. Hey, if you're new to the channel, welcome, or if you haven't yet subscribed, just go ahead, tap that subscribe button here, and then hit the bell notification so you will hear of new videos as soon as they come out. My name is Jack Butler. I'm a relationship coach, and I teach people about real love, real freedom, and real relationship. And this is an awesome community. I'd love you to be part of it. So just go ahead and subscribe. So this video is called You Are Enough. And I'm mostly going to be unscripted for this video. I know from my experience of working with a lot of women and a lot of people around relationship and value and worth and being yourself, that there can be a very pervasive sense that exists in a lot of us, at least at times, that we're not enough. That we're not enough. And I wanted to create this video just to try and convince you at a deeper level, or maybe the parts of you that need convincing, that you are absolutely enough. And I want to start by talking about your uniqueness. And whether you acknowledge it or not, you are unique. Your path is unique. Your unfolding is unique. The way that you look, move, feel, think, the way that you move through the world, the decisions that you've made, the person you are and the person you're becoming, all of this is unique. It's one time. And life has incarnated you. And if you really get at a deep level that the you-ness, the suchness of you, the essence of you, the uniqueness of you is enough, because there's no comparison. It's unique. Right? Growing up, my mom used to sometimes have issues with people who say more unique or less unique, because the real meaning of the word unique is one time. One time, no comparison, because how can you compare something that's completely unique? And really, you don't even need the word completely, because it's unique. It's unique. That's what it is, one time, one expression. And there's a unique expression that is you, a unique signature, unique flavor, a unique texture, a unique color, a unique voice that is you, and life has brought you here. And life didn't bring you here to pay penance. Right? Life didn't bring you here to say, hey, for the rest of your life, I want you to justify your incarnation. My sense is that life might have brought you here to say, hey, your uniqueness, that's what the world needs. Not only is it what the world needs, it is absolutely enough. Your unique expression, just your beingness, not even you trying, not even you performing, not even you making stuff happen, or being valuable to people, or taking care of people, whatever the strategies you are using at times subtly to reinforce this sense that you have to deserve yourself, or you have to justify your value. All of that can stop and be relaxed once you get that there's something essential in you, that is unique, and that is precious, and that life wants that uniqueness and preciousness. It doesn't want your inner critic loading up on you and telling you that you're not valuable and you need to go out there and make something of your life. Otherwise you aren't valuable and you don't deserve your seat, right? You absolutely deserve your seat in the sense that you came here, you are here, you're becoming, you are unique. There's one of you, and life wants that, and life wants to call that forth. Now you might say, well, hey, that's all well and good, Jack, but I know that other people don't see me that way. Other people don't think I just get a free pass because I'm uniquely me and they're uniquely them. And this may be where your journey is actually locating your value not in the eyes of others. And that's difficult, because we're socialized, for the most part, through education and parenting and culture at large, to see our value reflected in how other people see us, right? You want to go out in the marketplace with your offering and no one buys it. How is that valuable? But I'm distinguishing here something like market dynamics or educational expectations are different than this deeper essential you, the suchness of you that people talk about. You know, here we are. This is Boulder Creek. It's beautiful. You got the rocks, you got the water, you got the trees, you got sun coming down. And people say, you know, a rock isn't trying to be anything other than a rock. A tree isn't trying to be anything other than a tree. And the reason the spiritual teachers talk to that is because they're challenging the notion that you have to justify your value or justify your existence by your doingness. And to unplug from this and to know that you're enough, you often have to go in the face of consensus culture a little bit, right? That wants performance reviews and exam results and career progression and tangible results and smart goals. And I'm not making any of that wrong. I'm just saying, if that becomes subtle reasons for which you don't start to really connect with your own intrinsic value, the value of your mere beingness here, the value of your just unique and authentic expression, then it's not being held in the right way, in my humble opinion. and you might have to relax some of the performance standards that you put upon yourself, or the performance standards that you see in other people. You may also have to detach a little from the love and attention that you receive from other people in certain ways. Think about it as kids. Oh, there's a good girl, that's a good girl, oh, he's being a good boy, or pets, that's how we treat them. Now that's a necessary means of socialization, right? Of reinforcing with someone, here are the acceptable societal standards of behaving that have been developed over years and have some wisdom about how we can just kind of get on together and exist as functioning and civil members of this culture and society. So again, I'm not making that wrong. And it's not necessarily reinforcing some of these deeper spiritual perspectives about who you really are, right? And who you really are isn't just going to be codified in a set of societal expectations. You might have to unplug a little bit from that in order that you can find your own center of gravity of the value of your own beingness, the value of your own mere existence and expression. Because that's not what life will necessarily pay you for. It's not necessarily what the market will pay you for. It's not what your teachers or your bosses or your families will reward you for and reflect back to you necessarily. And it might still be true, absolutely true, that you are enough, that there is an essential goodness to you. Doesn't mean you don't have dark, doesn't mean you don't have wounds, doesn't mean you don't have complications, doesn't mean you don't have a history of bad experiences, doesn't mean that times you don't feel absolutely worthless, hopeless, and deflated. All of that can be true, and there can still be this deeper relaxing into, wow, even when I don't feel worthy and I feel a ton of shame, I'm actually still worthy, right? Even in my unworthiness and my experience of shame, maybe I'm still worthy. Maybe I still have value. Maybe that value is intrinsic. Maybe that value isn't contingent upon how someone sees me or how someone relates to me, or whether someone wants to make me their girlfriend, or whether the boss wants to give me a raise, or whether people think I started a great company, or whether my company succeeded or not, or whether I think I'm a good mother or sister or friend. It's actually in a different vector than all those things. And the more you start to be in tune with that vector of reality, doesn't need to make the other vectors of reality wrong. It just might be a deeper container and well and context within which to locate your life and your experience and your spiritual path, the unfolding of you, the becoming of you, that isn't dependent upon how other people see you, right? Think about it. An oak tree, at times, an oak tree can be super valuable to people because they can take shade in it, right? Or they might chop it down and make oak furniture. But that's not the true value of the oak tree, right? That's the instrumental value of the oak tree, right? Is what other people can use it for, right? And you might have some instrumental value in your career that, yeah, great, you've got some skills that people want to pay you for, or you've got some experience or qualifications or know-how, or just there's a role that you know how to fulfill and people value that and they're willing to pay you for that. But in this culture that's a little bit hypnotized at times by consumerism and capitalism and market value, we've just got to acknowledge there's this whole other game that's going on that I think is deeper than that, that doesn't have to do with the instrumental value of the oak tree. Oh, now it's valuable because we made a table from it. It's like that you can look at an oak tree and its majesty and its glory and its roots, in its center, in its gravity, in its expression of beauty, in its leaves, in its textures, and know that it's actually something valuable. Whether any other human looks at it and says, I can make something of it, that you're valuable, whether life is going to make something of you in a particular expression, maybe you're going to have an amazing career and have a huge impact on people. Maybe you're going to have a lukewarm career and you're going to put a lot of your energy into some other direction of life. Maybe you're not even going to have a career. Maybe you're not even going to have people looking at you and saying you're valuable, and that you could know in a place of value, real value, intrinsic worth and value is nothing to do with social status. It's nothing to do with how valuable people deem your attention or your presence, that it's actually something way more untouchable and unspeakable than that. And the more you can connect with that, the more you can know that you're enough, because you're already becoming. It's not like you become enough when you perfect yourself, or you become enough when you achieve a particular goal. We all know that the phenomenon of the dog that caught the car exists, right? The dog's chasing the car, chasing the goal, gets the goal, and then it's like, now what? You know, or the men that went to the moon, it's the focus of their entire lives, and then they get there and they're like, now what? That's a phenomenon that you don't need to be so susceptible to if you're not actually locating your value in the future and in some goal that you might achieve. Absolutely have your goals, just don't let your goals have you. Don't let your value be contingent upon whether you achieve a particular goal. You can see this with sports people, where if their value is so contingent upon becoming the champ, right? Only one person can be champ at any time. So the rest of the people go around feeling less valuable and less worthy. Now you might say, well, look, yeah, that's fire in their belly. That's grist to the mill. They go back and they train harder. In one vector of reality, absolutely right. Yeah, if you don't get what you want, you can go back and train harder and work harder and go back at it. And absolutely, there's something inspiring about that relentless desire to achieve something. And if you listen to most people that have that super achiever orientation, it's not the same thing as knowing I'm enough. It's not the same thing as I value my authentic expression, whether other people value it or not. It's not the same thing as I'm good with who I already am as I'm becoming something that life is unfolding through me, right? It's always this sense of ideal self projected out in the future that people get transfixed by, and they see their value dependent upon that future that they've created in their mind. And we're here to discuss that there's something more. There's something more to you. There's something that is so precious and unique and nuanced in you, whether you're in connection with it or not. You might be living an automatic life right now. You might be on complete autopilot, checked out, doing a job you don't like, in a relationship you don't like, or dating that you don't like. You might not feel like you're on the path at all. You might feel like life has passed you over, overlooked you. Any of these things might be true for you, and that still doesn't affect the intrinsic value that I'm trying to point to. Right? It's not about whether you experience the high of life. It's not about whether you think today is a great day. It's that actually there is something that is sort of untouched by the day-to-dayness of the ups and downs and the tribulations and travails of life and the wins and the losses and the ways that we grieve and have to let go and have to move on, and that sometimes we don't even want to do that, right? That can all be true at the self-same time, that there is something in you, unique in all time, unique in this expression, coursing through your veins, coming out through your doing, coming out through your being, coming out through the way that you see the world, through the way that you interact with the world, it could just be the uniqueness of the way that you feel about life, that there is an inner texture to you that is unique and that other people can try and understand and relate and attune to, and it's a precious uniqueness in the way that you experience life. You know, not every life is maybe equally easy to be fulfilled or happy. I think a lot of times we trip ourselves out because we just want to be happy. I just want to be happy, as if that's somehow something that we should either know how to do or that's our birthright. Maybe a better orientation is I just want to be myself. I just want to be in my experience. I want to have contact with what's happening, and I want to let the river flow. You know, this river is sometimes high and it's sometimes low. It's sometimes got eddies. It sometimes throws people out of their tubes. It sometimes stumps people. It sometimes floods and creates devastation. You've probably got the same things that are flowing through your own life. And if you get too attached to a particular view of how you need it to be, or how you need it to go, or how you need to show up, or how other people need to see you, or how other people need to value you, or how other people need to respect you, all of those things can sometimes take you away from this unique center that is you, that is unfolding and flowing, just like a river, right? You're not the same person that you were last year. We don't know where you're going to be a year from now. That's why the spiritual teachers always use the metaphor of the river, right? So you don't become attached. The river says, well, I don't want to be where I am today. I want to be low tide where I was yesterday, or low tide where I was 6 months ago. It's not being a river, right? The river is the pulse, is the change, is the dynamism. And maybe that's also true for you, that the uniqueness of you is that there is a season to your life, that what you're experiencing right now won't be the same thing that you're experiencing in the future. There'll be difference. You might have some things that are absolutely similar, but the more you get present to yourself, the more you'll see the fineness of the contours of what it's like to be you, and that your mind might be asserting, oh no, this is the same hopelessness, same disappointment, same missed expectations, same frustration, same rejection. Maybe that's not true. Maybe there's just a little flavor of how you feel frustrated today that's different. Maybe it's different in your body. Maybe you've got less mental activity. Maybe it's on one side of your body and not the other. And you might say, Jack, who cares if it's one side of my body or the other? I care, because the more you tune in at that level of reality, the more you will see the pristineness and the freshness and the renewability of life. That it's actually a dynamic and unfolding process. That it's not the stuckness, even while we have the experience of the stuck and the frustration, that life is moving. Its flow doesn't stop. You know, it's moving, just like this river is moving. You are moving, you are becoming. And again, there is a uniqueness to that becoming that is you. And if you can start to tune in at that level, You can ditch a whole load of advice about do this to be high value, do this to be worthy, say this to make him respect you. All of that is mostly a set of games and tactics to stop you feeling certain things, right? To stop you feeling, oh, right now I feel disrespected. Let me actually feel that. I don't necessarily have to get him to change. I might decide he's not my guy, or I'm going to take him out of my life, or there might be something in right action that I need to say, or a boundary I need to hold down. But life isn't about getting other people, manipulating them to have you feel valued and respected, because you can play that game ad infinitum, ad nauseum, and you're no freer. You're no more real. You're no more authentic to the core of who you are. You just have got a better arranged furniture in the house, and you're using the furniture to make you feel a certain way or to avoid you having to feel a certain other way. That's not really freedom, right? There's a contingency there. There's a contingency that I have to have other people look at me and see me and value me in a certain way in order for me to feel good. So I'm just ongoingly at the end of their leash. I'm ongoingly contingent upon them. And I'm not saying that we're not dependent upon each other in certain ways for our survival, for our life, of course. But that doesn't mean you have to be dependent upon a certain way that people see you in order that you feel yourself and that you feel valuable. Can you see how the notion of the real you and the real self can start to come more on board when you less fixate it with ideas about who that real self is or who that real self has to be? You hold less of an image, less of an idea that I'm this kind of person. I'm this kind of person. You need to see me this kind of way. I feel good when people see me this kind of way. Of course, we have a preference when people are nice to us and kind to us and love us. Not making that wrong, but it's no longer a covert demand. See me in this way, otherwise I will manipulate you into seeing me this way, or I will manipulate myself into feeling bad, or I will repress and avoid that I don't want to feel a certain way. Can you grasp the kind of the freedom at the essence of you when you don't have to walk in the world in a way that needs other people to see and reflect you, because you actually know internally that my uniqueness, my authenticity, my value, my expression, my meanness, my suchness, my essence is actually not up for sale. It's actually not up for discussion. It actually just is. It's there, whether you see it or not. I don't need you to see me a certain way. I love it when you do. I don't need you to reflect and respect me in a certain way. I love it when I do. I'm free from you in that way. I'm not dependent upon you in that way. That's when you know that you're enough. Most people that talk about how can you be enough and how can you be worthy have just developed a more sophisticated game to keep you stuck in a certain pattern of unconscious dependency and unconscious contingency. And, oh, I'm really valuable because I 10x my business. I could care less right now, right? I could care less. You're not valuable because you 10x your business. You're valuable because there's a core essence of who you are that if you gave it life, you wouldn't be stuck within a pattern of not enoughness that's driving your business. Of course, people can 100x their businesses from a feeling of not being enough. People will do all sorts of things from a feeling of not being enough because they're so terrified of feeling that, or their ego has such a grip on them. But if you've watched this far in this video, I get that you know something, that there's something else that's possible that I might be pointing to even imperfectly in this video. I'm not saying I have it all down, I'm not saying I have it all right. I'm just trying to point you in a direction on your own path that you may already be headed in, of knowing deep down intrinsically, without condition, without exception, that you are enough. Thanks for being with me. I'm Jack.